Alright, after my last video, a couple of people asked me how to set up Bigshot because it was working seamlessly on my previous video. So I'm just going to go through and do a quick how-to to get a basic setup of Bigshot going. A lot of this is going to be monk specific because I play a monk, but it should be easily translatable to anything. First thing you need is Bigshot. If you don't have it, you're going to type in repo download bigshot.which I already have it, so I'm going to skip that part. Another useful script you'll want to have is either rnum, that's R-N-U-M, or uberbar. Both of those will tell you what room you're in at any given time, as far as the lich room number. Rnum will tell you right in the room description what room you're in. Uberbar will tell you on the left hand side here, room number 20 is where we're at currently. That'll be useful for setting up what rooms you want to go to, start from, and set as boundaries in Bigshot. For this example, we're going to do Old Tough Angel because it's a fairly open zone and you're going to be setting a lot of boundary rooms usually. So it's a good exercise in patience getting it set up here. First thing you want to do is go to Bigshot Setup, and you're going to bring up the main Bigshot setup here. Shouldn't have to really mess with anything on this first page. Most everything, if you mouse over it, it's going to give you tooltips on it. And of course, as I do that, I'm making myself out to be a liar on this first page, so forget about the first page, you don't need it. Resting tab. You're going to set the room you want to rest in. Usually you want to use this as a supernode. There is a list of supernodes in any given town on the wiki that is fairly up to date. I chose room 20 because I tend not to bother anyone here and a lot of people don't come through. A lot of people would choose the dais if you want to be around people while you're resting. Pre-rest commands. I have incant 1216, which is just to make sure that my focus barrier is up at any given time. This is pretty much monk specific. 1216 is a spell that lasts indefinitely unless you get stunned. If you get stunned and it ticks down, you're going to lose it. So when I go to rest, I just recast it just in case. Active resting scripts. When you first come back to town, when your Bigshot decides to rest, it's going to run these scripts, whatever you put in here. Salute Sell will sell whatever you have if you use the Salute script, which I highly recommend for looting. Waggle, obviously, most of you will know, casts your spells just to make sure you're topped off. Obviously, I'm not here. I just casted one cast of everything because I was empty before writing this video. Hunting map. This is where you're going to need that rnum or uberbar. To determine these rooms, I've got a big list of them in a notepad file, but if you're starting from scratch here and you know you want to hunt an Old Tough Angel but you don't know anything about it, let's just close out of Bigshot setup for a minute here. We're going to go with the go command built into Lich to Fandrill, and it's going to give us a list of all the rooms in Old Tough Angel. There are a lot of ways you can get here without using the go command. You can actually pull up Neurost or X-Neurost, go to the map and actually click on the thing there. I prefer to do it this way. So you're going to type in Tough Angel, and then we'll choose something that looks like it's in there, in the zone we're approaching. So we'll go send 5 here, and it's going to take us there. We'll wait to get there. And then we're going to go ahead and use the X-Neurost thing. We're going to be running around. Once we get to the right map, we're going to run around on here. We're going to use the Tough Angel North as the area that we want to hunt in, mainly because this is a fairly quick setup. There's only one room in or out of this, so we're going to set a boundary room first. Boundary room, your script will never pass by it. So if we're setting our area to the the Tough Angel North here, the boundary room for it is just at the path that we're about to head to here. Now, we're at the room that we don't want to enter at any point here. The room number for that is 11989. So, we're going to Bigshot Setup again, go to Hunting Map, Boundary Room 11989. Now we're going to go to the area we want to start in. Room we want to start in, 12046. There we go. Now, when this script runs, once we've got it all set up, It's going to wander around this Top Angel North area and never pass that one boundary room we set up. If you're doing the center of Old Top Angel, that's when you have about 6 or 7 boundary rooms you've got to set here, so it doesn't wander into the East Woods, into the Aqueducts, into the Top Angel North if you don't want to fight the champions, things like that. That's where it gets to be a little bit annoying in the setup, but it's the same process. You just figure out what room you don't want it to enter, go to it, enter that room number. Alright, now let's go back to town, because there's a little more setup to do. Close out Exynos. We've got that set up. Let's do the hunting tab now. Valid targets. A lot of these fields are self-explanatory. I'm going to go through them anyway here. Valid targets. These are the things you want to kill. Don't type the full names. If you can, just type the one word name is best. You can get, bugs typing out full names and stuff, and it'll stop working. The order that you put these in, separated by commas, are going to be the order that Bigshot prefers to kill them. So if you run into a room and there's both a Griffin and an Ithzir Adept, it's going to kill the Adept first and then go to the Griffin next, because you've got those in those order. Attack stance. This one's fairly self-explanatory. If you play Gemstone, you know what that stance is. This is going to go to offensive and do its thing. There are various scripts if you want to stance to make that work. You can also put pauses in your attack commands and things like that. But as this is a monk-specific video, screw all that. You're a monk. You don't get hit in offensive. You're an offensive stance. There we go. The help channel should be able to help you if you want to figure out the, or the code channel on Lich will be able to help you out. If you want to figure out the stancing stuff, it's a little complicated. As far as society, spells, abilities, C-mens, most of these numbers are Lich specific. If you mouse over the text box here, it's going to give you a list of the most commonly used ones. 9805, 9806, the ones I use are the symbol of courage and symbol of protection, depending on your society. You choose what you want to use at any given time, and it'll keep it up as long as it needs to for Bigshot to run. Loot script. Again, I recommend Salute. There's also Salute 2 and just straight up Loot, I think, which was written by Tillman. Pick what you want. I prefer Salute because it also sells things fairly easily. And put it into this loot script. Priority hunt this is what it'll tell you, those valid targets. This is the checkbox that'll choose it based on the order you type these in here. I think this is set by default, just leave it alone. Pull players to feet. If you tend to hunt in an area that you know that there's an archer hunting in an area, like using a crossbow or something, he's kneeling, you're going to annoy him if you pull him to his feet all the time. Check that, uncheck it, based on your own personal situation. Just be aware that it will annoy people if you are pulling them to their feet and they're kneeling for one reason or another, or gathering and things like that. Alright, attacking. These are again pretty self-explanatory. I have mine set to flee if there are 3 enemies in a room or more. But in Old Top Angel, you get a lot of the low-level stuff that can't hit you. So you want to put any low-level stuff that you're not really worried about in this but don't count these field. That way it won't count towards the number of creatures in the room when you see one of these things. If there is something in the area that you always want to flee from, in this case Ithzir Seers, because they cast spells which are annoying, you put that in this thing, and anytime a Seer walks into the room, you're going to walk right out. Doesn't matter if you're fighting or not, it's just going to move on. Flee from environmental message. Again, depends on what you're doing in your personal situation. In Old Top Angel, you get a lot of things that will raise kills if you kill them and don't loot them fast enough. In that case, they cast Peace or Calm or whatever it is. I forget what the name of the spell is. But if it sees that, it'll walk out of the room and just move on. Okay, next tab. For unarmed combat, since you are a monk, this is a really easy setup. All you need to do is type in unarmed whatever, jab, punch, kick, grapple, and it's going to do the rest. This will take advantage of tier up opportunities. It will punch unless you are at excellent tier, which you'll see in the next tab. And basically it'll do everything it needs to do to make sure unarmed is working properly and you're set. If you are doing something else, again, this is one you can mouse over, and it'll give you a lot of good ideas as far as what you can type in here and how it's supposed to be formatted in order to get things done correctly. Honestly, I do not know what these B through J fields are. I have never used them. I'm sure they're for something. Ask on the code channel. They'll probably know, but it's a more, this is a basic video, so that's all we're doing now. Next tab, if you are using UIC, really the only thing you need to do is if you want to do a specific attack at tier 3, type in what that is. In my case, it's kick. If you want to do something else like punch, it's self-explanatory. You type punch in there. If you wanted to do I guess a random attack, you're gonna just leave that blank. Next tab is M striking. If you want to use your stamina for M strike, you should put a number of stamina in your M strike during cooldown stamina requirement. In the case of UAC, it should be 50. I think he spends 45 by default. I'm not sure. Monks get a stamina reducing spell, so it's been a while. But yeah, 50 is usually a safe number. If you're using a different type of weapon, just pay attention to how much stamina each attack is using, and you'll be able to set that number accordingly. If you're, by the way, if you are using Quick Strike, you can also do that through Bigshot. I haven't personally used it, but it should just be the same as this number plus whatever Quick Strike is costing you. A little math required, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. The unfocused M strike when creatures are greater than or when creatures are equal or greater than. This for me never fires because remember from the previous tab, if there are 3 things in the room, my script is just moving on. But if there are 3 things in the room, this will unfocused M strike rather than focused M strike. The only other thing you have to worry about on this tab is this checkbox, M strike during cooldown. That is, again, fairly self-explanatory. If you want it to use your stamina, check that box. If you want it to only use this, your M strike when it's off of cooldown, then uncheck it and nothing else on this page matters. Should hunt tab. This is 50. The number I have in there is going to hunt at clear. As soon as you're under muddled, that 50% full mind will go out and hunt again. Or if you want to wait on a specific amount of mana or spirit to hunt, you can also select these and put numbers there. This works on a percentage, 0 to 100. Next tab is should rest. Works on the exact same thing. If you want to hunt until you're fried, you want that number to be 100. If you want to hunt until you are beyond fried, which you can't get, but basically you're hunting until encumbered here, money hunting, you can put this, anything above 100 will hunt indefinitely until it hits one of the other modifiers here. Unless you're saturated is above, maximum is above 100, you can go up to 150% while saturated. So unless you're saturated or encumbered, this will hunt forever. And lastly, the ammo and wands thing. You're not a ranger, you're not a wizard, you are a monk, so I'm not explaining it. So we're done. That should be pretty much a basic setup. It's going to work for just about everybody. There are lots and lots more functionalities. You can hunt with 2 characters at once with Bigshot head and tails. You can, you know, really the sky's the limit. It's a very well written script. If you have any other questions, take them to the help channel or the code channel, and I hope this has been of some help to you.